On the President Provost broadcast that kicked off the fall 2019 semester, I previewed a few of the things that are coming up on the podcast. If you haven't caught some of those, you can go back and check out our Mind the Gap episode. But I also announced that we want to help you share the gift of podcasts. And so, in order to encourage those of you who have discovered the joy of podcasts to share the gift, we are going to do something special. Beginning now through September 30th, 2019, if you show a colleague how to subscribe to a podcast, and we hope it's Our College Your Voices, but it can barely be anything you want, just take a quick selfie together. I will make a donation of $1 to your campus's Circle of Ivy for each new subscriber from your campus. Now, because we can't just look at our subscriber numbers and tell where you're from, you do have to take one additional step to make this happen so I know which campuses should get the money. Just upload the photo and fill out the quick form. It just asks for both of your names at link.ivytech.edu/give-pod. That's link.ivytech.edu/GIVEPOD. You have a chance to take up to $500 split across our campuses out of my pocket to increase the dollars available for Circle of Ivy grants this fall. And if your photos get especially creative, or perhaps if you share the gift of podcasts more than anyone else, there might be a couple of additional special prizes sent directly to you. So remember that sharing is caring, and share the gift of podcasts with your colleagues. Welcome to Our College Your Voices. I'm your host, Kara Monroe. Today, we're going to be talking about a new program at Ivy Tech called iSucceed. iSucceed is a wraparound support program that provides incentives and student success coaching to low-income students in order to encourage them to remain enrolled full-time. Currently being piloted at 3 Ivy Tech campuses, the first 3 years of the program are partially funded by MDRC, which is a nonprofit, nonpartisan education and social policy research organization. iSucceed is a part of their nationwide Success Network program. Today, we're going to hear from a few folks who are working with this program at the college and learn a little bit more about that program. Let's meet our panel. Eliza, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
And I didn't even try to pronounce your last name. Would you do that for me, please?
Of course, yes. Eliza Erksleben.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm the Director of Retention and Student Success at the Bloomington campus. I've been with the college for 9 years, and I'm serving as the program coordinator for our iSucceed program.
Thank you, Eliza. Good to have you here. And Amy Wong-Griffin. Hi, Amy.
Hi.
And would you tell us a little bit about what you do at Ivy Tech?
Absolutely. I'm currently serving as Assistant Vice Chancellor for Student Success at the Indianapolis campus. I've been with the college for 16 years, most of those as Director of Advising in Indianapolis. And in this capacity, I'm working with a lot of our wraparound support programs. So our Student Success Center, our TRIO Student Support Services, our Nina and Bowen Scholars, and the iSucceed program falls right into my bucket.
Excellent. Very good. And our last guest joining us today is Dr. Corey Glossman-Ryan. Hi, Corey.
Hi, Kara.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Yeah, I currently serve as the Vice President for Student Success in the Systems Office. I've been at the college 7 years, and I serve as a statewide point of contact for the iSucceed program.
Wonderful. Thanks to all of you for joining me. So you had to go through an application process to be a part of iSucceed. And so, Corey, could you talk just a little bit about the sort of the state selection process? And then to each of you, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about the campus selection process.
Sure. So when MDRC came to us, they wanted to find states and select 3 different colleges within each state. And since they were just looking for community colleges, obviously with Ivy Tech being a little different, we went through an RFP process. And so they selected the state of Indiana first. And then we asked each of our campuses if they wanted to apply. And so we had more than 3 campuses that did apply. And so Systems Office worked with MDRC to narrow down the applications. We did interviews with each of the interested campuses as well. And through that process, then narrowed it down to the 3 that were selected to participate. And so that's why we have Indy and Bloomington as well as Kokomo.
Excellent. Very good. And so Amy and Eliza, would you talk a little bit about the process of going through that selection on your campuses?
Sure. So that was the first time I had the opportunity to be a part of like a grant writing experience. So that was really, I guess, fun. We'll use
it's
that
always
word.
a learning experience.
It was a learning experience. It was
That's
definitely a learning experience. So we have a great team on our campus. It was just kind of interesting to come together to try to put, together in writing the proposal as far as what we were wanting to do. And it came at good timing because in Indy, we were looking at a way to kind of relaunch some of our initiatives around minority male success. And so we had originally kind of thought, well, maybe this would be a way to, kind of co-locate or kind of emphasize that a little bit more. So we had been doing some work on that ahead of time. So that was kind of led our efforts as far as our grant application went.
Mm-hmm. And I have to give some credit here to my supervisor, Dr. Sam Deweese, who's the Vice Chancellor of Student Success. He really took the lead on our proposal. But we are very excited to see this opportunity because we've been doing some student success coaching on our campus, but this really has provided us with the opportunity to shine a lot more light on the fact that we do student success coaching, and the incentives are really wonderful for our students.
Absolutely. So you both talked about your programs a little bit, and I know each of the program, I get to read all the RFPs. So I know that each of the programs is a little bit different. Can you describe a little bit more about the program design for each of your programs at your campuses?
Well, in Indianapolis, we had originally wanted to focus on African-American male students. And in our meeting with the MDRC, we realized that from a recruitment perspective, as far as the size and number of students that we needed to eventually get to, we didn't quite have the population of full-time enrolled African-American male students that we would need for that. So we expanded our program approach then to African-American full-time Pell eligible students. And that is the population that we're working with in Indianapolis.
Yeah, we had a similar, we wanted to originally focus on students who are under 24 and maybe our online students, but we did need to expand the population as well. So we're really focusing on anyone who's enrolled full-time, degree-seeking, and Pell eligible.
And I know that right now, each of the campuses is in the process of recruiting students to participate. So it is voluntary for students to participate as long as they meet the requirements. Can you talk a little bit about those efforts across the programs?
So we have been doing a number of different things, and it is a lot of word of mouth just through other front-facing student offices as far as referring students to, the Student Success Center, which is housing the iSucceed program. And then we were fortunate through our Weeks of Welcome, our Fall Involvement Fair, we were able to have a table set up, and we were able to generate quite a bit of interest. So really, even just based on those initial events, I think we are close to having our first group that we are designated to coach filled. And then it's helping us to think about, as we will be scaling up in the next couple of years, that recruitment is going to have to change. So the first year we only needed to serve 60 students. And we know that it's going to be 120, I think, next year, and so on. So we're already thinking about our second year recruitment.
Yeah, I think it's been really interesting moving. My background is also in academic advising. So kind of putting on a recruitment hat and learning new things about the ways to recruit students has been a great experience. And we're also, taking very detailed notes and tracking our data and how students are responding to our different communications. So we knowing that we're going to have to scale up in the next year, but we've used a variety of methods, and we've been really lucky. Our financial aid office has been working with us to do some outreach to students. We have those referrals coming from our academic advisors and other staff on campus. We found text messages to be particularly effective, and we're working our way towards 60. I think we've got 36 currently committed, and we've got several more in progress. I don't think we'll have a problem hitting it. Students have been very interested and receptive to the program, and they've been really appreciative so far.
Good.
So the other thing I would add to here is that one of the, complicating factors, but I think it's a good problem, is that a lot of the students who are eligible for this program would also be 21st Century Scholar students as well. And what we've done previously is all new 21st Century Scholar students enrolled at the college have been eligible to have student success coaching through Inside Track, which has been very successful, and one of the reasons why this program was particularly attractive to us, but so that we can expose as many students as possible to coaching. For this year, we've said we want 21st Century Scholar students to continue to be in the Inside Track coaching, and that in this program, which I think has kind of limited the pool a little bit. And so with this being a pilot year, I think that's something we'll have to think about next year. If this is a successful program, maybe we move some of those scholar students to this program, for example, so that we can do additional students through Inside Track. So those are some of the things that we'll work through as we're finding out what works for recruitment and with the coaching program, and what maybe we could do better going forward too.
So there are two questions I want to ask you sort of based on some of the things you've said. So we'll take this one first, and then I'm going to hold myself accountable to remember that second one. So you've both talked about, Amy and Eliza, about recruiting a certain number of students. And so you two and Corey, can you talk a little bit about the research that's going on around this program and why that number is important. It was part of the limiting factor of which campuses we thought would be eligible to even consider applying. Can you talk a little bit about what's going on there?
So this year, any student is eligible who is eligible for the program will be in the program. But because this is also research, we want to know what works. The larger idea behind the program is taking different initiatives that we know have proven to be effective at other places and wrapping them into one comprehensive program. And so going forward in years 2 through years 5, the idea is that there will be a research component to it. And so students who are interested will be randomly assigned to either the I-Succeed program or just whatever the normal services are that the college offers. And so in future years, they won't necessarily be a part of the program so that we know what's working and what's not.
The second question that I had is, I think to those who listen outside of higher ed to our podcast, we use the words coaching, advising, and then mentoring, which we haven't really talked about too much today. We use them with pretty specific meanings. But I think a lot of folks sort of lump all those things into the same category in their heads. Could you guys, as 3 experts in this area, can you define what those words mean to us and to you?
I view student success coaching as a collaborative. Most of those processes obviously are collaborative mentoring and advising as well. But we really work with students and we look at their individual needs and we look at the whole student. So we're asking really intentional questions to gauge where they're at with academics, health, work, study skills, and through our questions, we're able to look for areas where they might want to spend some time setting some goals or learning new skills in. And we work with each student monthly then to set progress marks towards those. You want to take academic advising?
Yeah, I think academic advisors do coach. I think that's certainly part of it. Right. But as an academic advisor, even though you're here for the student, but there's a goal in mind. We're trying to help you move through this program of study to help you reach your goal. And that's really what drives the conversation. I think with mentoring, that can look a lot of different ways, from a peer mentor or to a professional mentor, but it's somebody with experience in a particular area that's kind of guiding that student in those steps. And a coach is really just somebody to go alongside the student. And it really, like Eliza said, it's really based on what that student feels that they need. The student is an expert about themselves. So a coach is there to help ask the right questions sometimes, to help the student identify where they need to be focusing on, and then just kind of be an accountability partner to help them move in whatever direction that they want to go.
Yeah, something we like to say a lot is that we're just here to maximize the students' academic experience. We really focus on their strengths and their opportunities to improve. And as I mentioned before, some common topics that we work with are study skills, time management, organization, stress management. And sometimes, we're just there to provide some words of encouragement. And I also have a lot of students, it's good that you said that, really point to the accountability piece. Like they're doing really well already, which is fantastic. And just having someone there saying, hey, you're doing a great job. Or someone to kind of report back to what they've done has been very helpful for them so far. Yeah.
And I use a coach professionally. I mean, I can just speak to all of those things: the time management, the stress management, the working on what's the next thing for me. And it's so valuable. So for students, for everybody, I think they can benefit from a coach. So
I agree.
Good. Excellent. So we talked a little bit about your recruiting students. So if we have students who are listening to the podcast, and we do have a few who listen, or other faculty and staff who work on one of the campuses involved, tell us a little bit about the benefits to the student of participating and how they might go to learn about getting involved with the program.
Yeah, I think one of the major benefits is students who are enrolled in the program, if they are meeting their requirements, they can earn the $50 gift card incentive. And those can be a little bit different across campus on what type of gift cards. I think those that's what draws a lot of students to the program. And then what we hear from students is just, again, kind of stretching them to work towards those goals, having someone to keep them accountable, and providing that encouragement that can be very valuable.
So we have a lot of different programs at Ivy Tech. We have the Inside Track coaching. We have Commit to Finish. We have Commit to Complete. We have tutoring. We have how is this different, or how does this work with all of the other resources that are at Ivy Tech for a student? Or, we always say one of our student success commitments for faculty and staff is to know resources. So How is this different, or how does it align with those things?
We do a lot of connecting to those resources. I've walked many students down to our Student Success Center,
which is such a cool place, by the way.
Yes,
I got to see it last week. And
now,
meet Dawn, one of the students.
And Dawn was an iSucceed student. You sat with her for over an hour, helping her with a class. That was wonderful. Yeah. So we do a lot of connecting to resources on campus, and we work really closely with all of those resources, I would say. Every time I visit the Student Success Center now, I see iSucceed students in there, and a lot of the ones that I have walked down there. So sometimes I think it's just when we form that relationship with students, they know they have a place to go. And we tell them all the time, like, we may not be the expert in this area, but we're going to connect you to whatever resource you might need or whatever you have a question about. And I've had a lot of success with just introducing the student to whoever the contact may be. And they just seem, they seem more at ease when they have a smiley face and they've been introduced. And I've seen it work and make them more comfortable in accessing the various resources that can be kind of intimidating sometimes if you don't know the person or you're not familiar with it.
Something that we've really been focusing on in Indianapolis is how to make a big school feel small and finding lots of kind of little homes on campus. So we've been very fortunate to have a TRIO student support services program for a number of years on our campus. And one of the things that we see is that students really identify as, I'm a TRIO student, I have a home in TRIO. And so we want to try to take that same message to, I'm an iSucceed student, I have a home, and iSucceed, to just outside of the, because coaching is something that we can really do for any of our students who want it. The incentive gift cards, probably not, but just to call it something more than just going to the tutoring center or just going to meet with my professor during office hours, to give them a home on campus. And that's really what we're hoping to do.
I think one of the neat things about making the connections that Amy and Eliza are talking about is it helps students then be able to be advocates for themselves. They know where to go. They know who to ask questions of. So that way they don't feel maybe as directionless as they do at other times. So I think that's kind of one of the real benefits of coaching in general.
Absolutely. Very good. So you both came out of academic advising, and this is a little bit different role as we talked about earlier in the episode. What have been some of the positive outcomes that you've seen as a result of that?
We're having so much fun seeing our students, light up when we talk about how they're doing so far, and just being able to ask those questions like, how's it going? Like, I came from academic advising, and it's amazing how different it feels when you take out the kind of enrollment curriculum piece, where you can really just sit down and have a relaxed conversation. And I see so much in the students and how much they leave feeling better or good. They usually come in feeling good, but they just leave with like a little bit more spring in their step. It's been really rewarding from my perspective working with students in this manner.
I think that was similar feedback I got. Our coach, Lakeisha Williams, had previously been an academic advisor. We were actually having our one-on-one yesterday, and she said, that is the most fun thing. I just ask, how's it going? And that conversation can go anywhere. And she said, it's just so refreshing. Not that advising isn't it's just a different experience. And I think part of that, thinking about the difference between advising and coaching, with advising, we have a goal in mind. And with coaching, it's just so much more open that the conversations just go everywhere. And I think as the coach, it's just, I think, refreshing. Yeah. I mean, it's something new. It's a different challenge. Every person is a really different type of conversation.
Yeah, the dynamic changes a little bit when the student becomes the expert. So that's one thing I love about student success coaching, is they're really the expert in this situation. Yeah, you have the institutional knowledge and you're going to connect them to resources, but I go into every meeting thinking like, okay, this is the student drives this. I'll try to keep us on track, leave with a goal in mind for them, but they're really setting the tone, and they get to choose, and they are the experts. And it is a little bit different of a dynamic change from academic advising. And it has been really nice.
So as we launch this program, what are some of the benefits that you're seeing to it already as we've launched it?
For me, one of the nice benefits of the program is we talked previously about Inside Track and the effectiveness that we've seen with our 21st Century Scholars. And one of the things that Carrie, you and I have talked about is how do we scale it so that we hit more students? And we're kind of looking for a different way to do that. And so one of the great benefits of this program is it gives us a way to start to scale that and to build capacity internally with our own people. So it's professional development for our staff while also expanding the number of students that get exposed to student success coaching as well.
Absolutely.
I would love to add that we've already seen an uptick in students who are accessing coaching that may not be eligible for the iSucceed program. So we did do some broad recruitment in the beginning, and we've had a lot of students reach out to us who are interested but may not meet one of those eligibility requirements. And I think that has two benefits, actually. One is that then they can access student success coaching even if they're not earning that incentive. And two is that it may motivate some students to maybe enroll full-time so that they meet. If they're close, if they were at 9 credit hours, say, we would have a conversation about, is, adding another class something that's realistic for you? And we know students that, enroll in more credit hours are more likely to complete. So I think it has that added benefit as well.
You're in the first year of a 3-year program with this grant specifically, but we always hope we learn things from grants and that we can sustain them if they're beneficial. So what do you think, 5 years from now, how do you think participating in this program today changes things on your campus or at the college as a whole?
Well, I hope that, if we learn that specifically the providing gift cards as an incentive for coaching, my hope would be that that's something that we could scale up by working with Foundation and talking to donors and being able to show, here is 3 years of study that we've done to show that this makes a difference. And this would be a great way to use some dollars to support that so that we would be able to continue to offer the incentive gift cards. And I hope it also just kind of sheds a light onto the value of coaching and raises that profile of, the benefits of having a coach, even without the incentive gift cards, that's something that is still available to a lot of our students, that there are people here that want to help them get where they want to go. We just have to know where they are.
I would say at a statewide level, my hope is that, 5 years from now, 6 years from now, that this works, that we have this at all 18 campuses. One of the things on my radar is figuring out how do we scale this. So obviously it takes funding. We have the incentives. There's coaches. So there's a human resource element to it as well. So whether it's institutional dollars, whether it's philanthropic dollars, or we get help from the state, whatever it might be, that we find a way to fund this so that we can take this to more students and expose more students to it if it works, because we want to do whatever we can to help our students be successful.
Good. Every episode ends with a call to action. And so for today, I would like to urge you, if you are on the Kokomo campus, the Indianapolis campus, or the Bloomington campus, to reach out to either Amy or Eliza, or in the Kokomo campus, Corey, who would they reach out to? Tashana, to learn more about this program. If you have a student that you think might benefit from it, or if you just want to learn more, have a conversation with them. I think they're both shaking their heads at me.
Yes, come talk to us.
They would welcome that. And also just to remember that even if you're not on one of those 3 campuses, we do have a lot of resources that we've talked about today that you can connect students with. So definitely reach out to your director of advising or your lead advisor or someone in student success to ask about some of the resources that are available on your campus to connect students to. I want to thank our panel today, Amy Wong Griffin, Eliza Erksleben, and Corey Klossman Ryan. Thank you all 3 for joining us. I'm your host, Kara Monroe. You can connect with me on Twitter at KNM Tweets. Our producer is Ann Penny Valentine. Ann is on Twitter at Indy Penny. You can always reach us by email with show ideas and other questions for the show at ourcollegeyourvoices@ivtech.edu. And you can also leave us a voicemail at 317-572-5049. Again, our number is 317-572-5049. Our website is ivtech.edu/podcast. And remember, if you're inside of the Ivy Tech community, you can also join our Microsoft Teams listener community by opening up Microsoft Teams, going to the Teams button, looking down at the bottom of the screen to join a team, and then finding the Our College Your Voices listener community. Production assistance for this episode is provided by Becky Campbell, Sarah DeWitt, and the Ivy Tech Community College marketing team, and our podcast concept is by Matthew Pittman. The music, recording, and post-production services is provided by the incredible Jen Eanes at the Brassy Broadcasting Company, and we will talk to you next time on Our College, Your Voices.